Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have the softest touch. As I stated in the larger video that I will be doing shorter videos of each particular group or subject or topic that I covered dealing with the COVID-19. And as I stated before, it deals with so many aspects, not just the earthly aspects, but the spiritual, the biblical, numerology, the scientific matter. So all of it's all connected. So as I said in the other video, which I tried to synopsis down the best I could to give y'all all of the parts of the dynamics of this thing, but I'm going to dive deeper into it. I'm having trouble uploading the other video because for some reason it recorded in 4 parts, so I have to upload it in 4 parts, but I'm still having trouble for some reason with that. But I'm gonna go forth with this one, and hopefully by the time I post this one, you all would have a chance to look at the other one in its totality, even though it's 4 parts. All right. I'm gonna first start with the COVID name. And then, as we know, this is called COVID-19 right now, but that's not how it started. It started in 1968, where the corona name actually came from, and it came from scientists believing that the corona looked like or resembled the sun, the crown around the sun. So that's where it started. However, coronavirus actually was first discovered in the 1930s, but it didn't become it didn't start affecting humans until the 1960s. Now the coronavirus has 7, I think it's 7, 10. It's 10 different coronaviruses, but 7 that has affected humans. And the interesting part about it, the corona virus actually have subgroups, and the subgroups are alpha, delta, gamma, and beta. So it's alpha coronavirus, delta coronavirus, gamma coronavirus, and beta coronavirus. I thought that was kind of interesting, and it's awesome stuff. That's also interesting how some of these viruses, at the time of their onset, was the same time that either radio waves or the cellular waves were put up. And I'm going into that when I deal with the 5G video. Okay, now, the coronavirus name itself, like I said again, it has this, had previous names before this. Now, let's start from the top. It first started as SARS-C, lowercase o, capital V-2. That was the first name. Then it went to 2019 Nova coronavirus, or 2019 lowercase n, capital C, lowercase o, V. Then it went to novel coronavirus. Now, let's break down this name, because it just amazes me how the devil is so bold to put his message and what he's doing out there just within the name COVID-19. But before we get to COVID-19, we have to dissect novel coronavirus. Okay, now novel means new one. Corona means crown, and virus means venom. So in one sense, when you look at the name across from the underneath, when you put the meanings together, it can mean new one, crown, venom, or in other words, new one, crown, venomous. Okay? Now, as you go down, now remind you, venom is a poisonous substance. Okay? And I'm going to tell you how that ties into what's going on here after I finish condensing it all. Now we got COVID-19. Now, COVID is a noun, right? But when you look at, and that means, again, a person, place, or thing. In this case, it's a person, because it's the devil. Satan, real name Lucifer. I'll get into that. So, now when you look at that, corona 19, excuse me, let's go back real quick. Coronavirus, like I said, it works in droplets, right? And it's interesting because when you talk, when you cough, when you sneeze, when you eat, things of that nature, we let out certain little particles, which you call droplets. And within those droplets, if you are affected with the coronavirus, it spreads out and other people can get sick, ill, very ill, or can even cause death. Now, the COVID name, the CO, wait, hold on, let's go. CO stands for corona, the VI stands for virus, the D stands for disease, and 19 means the year in which it was identified, or so-called identified. Let's put that out there. But nonetheless, when it was identified. When you're looking at autonomy, covert means a part of the body resembling or likened to a crown. And I thought that was kind of interesting because when you think of crown, most of us, if not all of us, think of Jesus with the crown of thorns that pierced his head when he was nailed to the cross. So when you look at crown, when you look at that crown, and crown actually means head. So that's another part of our connection with Jesus. So that's part of another connection outside of the blood. That's definitely another connection to us to understand a southern part of the pain, suffering, and sacrifice. So it also means, when you look at physics, means droplets. And again, that's very significant because, again, that's how this virus is spreading, by droplets. Again, go back to the sun. The sun let off radiation, which comes out in droplets. The same thing with the 5G, let off radiation, RF waves, which is radiation. Is not the same as an X-ray radiation, but it's radiation in itself, which is also droplets. It lets that off. So this is the significance, because what the enemy is actually doing is trying to mimic the powers of God. And again, in another video, I'm going to go more in depth into that and break down exactly what he's doing, why he's doing it, all of the detail that you really, really want to know. Trust me, you really need to know this. So let's get back to this. So when you look at 19, 19 means connected to divine forces. However, when you look up, when you break it down and you're looking up, you break that 19 down, you look at the 1. 1 means a beginning. 9 means an end. Beginning, end. You know, that sound familiar? In Revelations, it's talking about even when it's talking about God and how He created the universe, and all the prophecies that comes forth, is the beginning and the end. They say God is the beginning and the end. So keep that in mind. But when you add them together, that's 10. That's when you're dealing with the numerology side of you, dealing with 10. And 10 means the completion of a cycle. That's one of the meanings. It means the completion of a cycle. It also means authority of God and His government on earth. Whew, it's coming to it. And also, when we spoke about 19, dealing with divine forces, but it means connected to divine forces of universal power and forces likened to God. So again, mimicking. He's trying to mimic God. And going back to, let's keep going. And then when you look up, and what is all of this? What's COVID-19 right now? It's considered a pandemic. This is the last stamp that's been on this name, is that it's a pandemic. And when you look at pan, which is a prefix, which is the same as the pan in pandemonium, which originally meant a dwelling place for demons, a place where demons dwell. That's the original name of it. So now you see where this is going, right? Okay. But when you look at, let me read this. I want to make sure, because I'm always getting tongue-tied on this part. When you look at pandemic, when you look at the demic part of it, demic, a distinct, now I broke this all the way down. So this is where I got the meaning. So it says a distinct subgroup of a population who has a particular form of a language, special to a significant religion or social group. Now, this is how that breakdown goes, right? This is how I got the breakdown. And this is, the back of it is actually what this means. So what I did was, I said, now, the way this is written out, I said, if I put everything together to make one big sentence, what does it mean? What would it sound like, and what does it mean? So I'm getting ready to explain this breakdown to you in one little paragraph. Okay. What all of this means, this COVID-19 name, all of this means, and like I said again, the devil is very bold. He's very bold, because like I said, he's trying to. Oh, I'll get into that part because it's at the end. Okay, so all this together in one grouping says, a new one crowned with a poisonous substance to attack part of the human body, resembling or likened to a crown, to alter the completion of the cycle of the beginning and an end, as if he's the authority of God to take over God's government on earth by using his divine universal forces and powers in a place where his demons dwell among a distinct subgroup of population who has a particular form of a language which is peculiar to a specific religion and or special group. Okay. Now, this is the last part of the breakdown. Ready? Okay. Now, when it says a new one crowned, Satan, whose real name is Lucifer, he got the name Satan when he was thrown out, because it described who he was, because he went wayward. He had a proposal for God, which God didn't like, so he rebelled, and he got thrown out. And again, another video will go deeper into that to explain how that whole thing happened. He got cast out, how he still had access to heaven, etc. I'll explain all that in another short video. Okay, so again, he's trying to change his name from the evil one to the new one. All right. When it says with a poisonous substance, the poisonous substance is the coronavirus, right? To attack. The way he's attacking is through the droplets. The same thing was mentioned when we're looking at the COVID name. When you look at the physics side of it, means droplets. So he's trying to use droplets to spread his poisonous substance that's radiating off of these 5G networks. Okay. Now, it says to attack a part of the human body resembling or likened to a crown. And what he's talking about there, when it's talking about a crown, it's talking about the head. Because when you look up crown, it means head. And again, the connection between us and Jesus is that. And with the crown and the crown of thorns. And the reason why that is because when you subject the head to any kind of trauma, any kind of heartache, any kind of depression, aggravation, frustration, unforgiveness, pettiness, laziness, anything like that, what is it going to do? It's going to affect the rest of the body. So when the droplets gets in a person and a person starts getting sick, what do? They start to worry. Their minds start to wonder. They start to panic. They start to get anxiety. All of these things, the stress, and all of these things start to build up, which they start building up in the head, sinks down through the heart and gets into the body, and then it starts destroying the body. So, and even without a virus or a disease in you, it can create it. It can actually create a lot of worry, things of that nature. And even when a person is bitter, or a person has ill will towards people, their body is creating a sickness and an illness that is going to manifest itself sooner or later. So that's what that part is talking about. Now, let's go back. It says a part of body resembling likened to a crown to alter the completion of the cycle of the beginning and the end. Now, as you know, prophecy is saying, well, God is the beginning and the end, but prophecy says that the devil's end is done is already stamped and signed. So he's trying to, what he's trying to do, he's trying to alter and change the outcome of his fate. That's what he's trying to do. Then it goes into say, at the beginning, to alter the completion of the cycle of the beginning and the end, as if he's the authority of God. And what that means is that he's trying to not just be like God, he's trying to be more powerful than God. From the beginning, when he saw all of the majesty of God's presence in his work, and all of the glory that he received from it, he not only wanted that, he wanted to not only be that, he wanted to be even over God. And again, another video, I'm going to be breaking that down. So that's what that part is talking about when it's talking about as if he's the authority of God. And it says to take over God's government, which is God's kingdom. And it says when it says on earth, what that's speaking of is when Jesus returned and he's going to form a new government, which means a new kingdom. He's trying to take that over. So he's trying to set all of these things in place now in order to make sure that when Jesus comes, he can take them out. That's basically what he's figuring. He's figuring he'll have enough army, not just of the spiritual realm, but of the earthly realm. So all of the people who are wicked and wayward and ill will and things of that nature, that's his army. That's part of his army. So he figures he's going to have enough of his army to take out God's army of the spiritual as well as the physical realm for as the believers. All right, let's keep moving. Then it says over God's government on earth by using his divine universal forces of power. And what that's talking about, his evil presence and his evil. And it says, in a place where demons dwell. And what that means is a place where demons dwell is mostly every place in this country, and even in other countries in this world, have hubs. Baltimore City has a serious hub and has been a hub of demonic presence since its creation. Again, another video will be going depth into that and breaking that down. But every state, every country has it, every state has it, and mostly every major, mainly states with major cities, you can kind of see it. And there's ways to identify it in different ways. And one of the ways is it just spiritually, when you walk into certain areas, you just feel this presence, like you just feel it, you know. And it's not even to man, it's just the presence of the evil. Also, you can look at certain buildings, and like here in Baltimore, if you look at Calvert, Charles, Pratt, St. Paul, Biddle, I'm trying to think, Fayette, all of these different streets, and when you look at the top of the buildings, like around the courthouse, the top of the crown of the crown of the buildings, the moldings, you will see like demonic faces, wicked looking faces and goggles, and I'll go into what that is because people who got the wrong conception or understanding what goggles really are. So all of this wickedness, and you can spot it. The enemy even went so far, and also when you see those faces, they're what you call it, I can't think of the right word, but it's where the devil can view, he can see through. So when you see these imps running the baseboards, like when you see a shadow you thought you saw, you're like, I thought I saw something. And if you don't have mice or rats, you did see something. It's a shadow, it's an imp. And imps are able to move about one or more at a time. It's unlike spirits and demonic spirits who normally run 6 or more at a time. So that's why when you feeling depressed, they be like, she's still depressed? Well, you're not just depressed. You're dealing with at least five other different spirits connected to that resentment or isolation and different things like that. So I'll go into that in another video, because people need to realize that demonic spirits are not just something floating through the air. Demonic spirits are actual beings that can attach themselves to you, but you can't see them through the human eye unless you have a particular kind of gift. So let's get back on track. Now, it says by using his universal forces and powers, in a place where demons dwell. It says among a distinct group of a population. Now, when it's talking about a distinct group of a population, it's talking about people who believe in God. People who believe in God. And to the degree, because it also says a distinct subgroup of a population who believe in God, who has a particular form of a language, which is speaking of tongues. And then it goes on to say which is peculiar to a specific religion or social group. When it's talking about a specific religion, what it's talking about anyone who is believing in God, because not all religions believe in God. Mostly all spiritual people do, but not all religion. Or even believe in Jesus for that matter. But more so, we're speaking on the God realm right now. Now, when it says a social group, they're talking about believers. So, more so, to sum it up, Satan is attacking more so the believers. He's more so attacking the believers. He's bothering the people who are non-believers, but in a whole different way. Because when a person don't believe, he believes that they have no relationship with God, they have no interest in God, so he believes they don't have the same protection as those who believe in God. They have protection from God, but not to the same degree believers does. And it's not favoritism, so don't get that twisted, because God says in James that, I think it's John, James. I think it's John. Is it John? In the book of John, I think it is. James. I think it's the book of James that says, book of John that says, showing partiality is sinful. So if it's sinful for us to show partiality, he's definitely not going to do it. So that's not what that is. What it is that when you have a relationship with God, and you petition him, when you have a relationship with Jesus, you are still petitioning God. And when you have that dialogue and you're speaking to God and you're pouring out your heart and you're sitting there listening to God and you're following his directions and, you just have that closeness. The thing about it, you're going to get certain things that's going to come your way that a non-believer wouldn't, because you are petitioning God. So that's how that is. So it's not one is bad, not saying anybody's better than another. It's just that when you have a relationship with somebody, that's like if I got a relationship with you, and if I got a relationship with you, then we're going to have a certain kind of dialogue, the way we can talk, we might can hang out. But if I don't have a particular relationship with you, you still might see me and speak away, how you doing? Oh, good to see you. But we're not probably going to be hanging out because we don't have any kind of relationship, whether it's association, affiliation, or friendship. So that's what that is. So like I said again, he attacks non-believers differently because he really don't feel that he has to really do much to them because they're already out of the loop in a sense. And you do have some that's far off than just not believing. You have some that are resentless and trying to curse anybody and or curse God at any chance they get, and to try to pull people away from their relationship with God. So those individuals he ain't even bothering with. Now, as far as tormenting and things of that nature, now what he'll do is he'll give them little things to do, little assignments that they think they're doing, but they're doing for him. They're just a peon. So that's what that is. And I also want to address this because it kept coming to me as I was putting this together. And I know that I hear people say, not people, but I've heard it through the years from a number of people, whether they said it to me directly or I heard them saying it to somebody else or somebody else said it, somebody said it to them, is that you have people who say, how can God be a loving God and say that if you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to hell or you're not going to heaven? Well, the thing is this. You can't ascend to a place that you don't believe in. It's just simple as that. It's not that, it's like you this and you're going to hell. It's not that. It's saying that there's two alternatives. There's heaven and then there's hell. So if you don't believe in heaven, you can't ascend to it. You just can't ascend to it. And if you don't, just say if you don't believe in hell. Well, if you don't believe in neither, and just say you because if you can't ascend, that means you staying here, and this earth is going to be the hell. So that's what it means. It's not like, they're going to open up the door and say, hey, there you go, going in. Is that you're going to be stuck here in this hell. That's what that is. So I just wanted to definitely address that. I'm going to be, hopefully the other video, the one with all the information together, will be posted before this. If not, hopefully I can get out the quirks and get it posted up. But thank you for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section, and I'll respond back to you. And if you have actually any addition that you want to add, that you feel is worthy to be heard or to be considered, definitely feel free. But I also want you all to know, as I put in the first video, is that any conversation that's constructive, whether a person is a believer or not, is welcome. We don't get into the debating, because you don't supposed to debate God or God's word. You don't supposed to debate it. But we can have the conversation. But if anyone is posting anything that's derogatory or disrespectful or anything like that, then you will be blocked. So I'm going to put that out there because we are literally in the last days. Revelations, everything is playing out stage by stage by stage. We're in the last dispensation of grace in the tribulation period. So we don't have a lot of time to be going back and forth. So, like I said again, all comments and questions, respectfully, are welcome. And hope to see you guys in the next video. Hope to be able to speak with you soon. All right, bye-bye.